Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe, and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. In our first story, a Choosing Beggar orders a bespoke cake. Sometimes you know things are going to go wrong from the very beginning. Let's jump right in. I posted not too long ago about the woman who blew up at me over not getting a discount on a cracked cookie. At the time, that was the most dramatic Choosing Beggar incident I'd ever had the displeasure of experiencing in person. I had thought it would remain that way. On Friday evening, I was proven woefully wrong. Several days before, we had gotten a call from a lady wanting to order a custom cake and cupcakes. My coworker Emma answered. It started out standard enough, but the lady quickly proved to be difficult. She had a million super complicated questions and got extremely aggravated at being put on hold so Emma could go get the answers. After about 45 minutes, she snapped, screaming into the phone that she was sick of this and demanded to speak to a supervisor, or at least someone who actually knows what the flip they're doing. Emma was holding back tears, but passed the phone on to our manager. Our manager then spent 2 flipping hours on the phone with this woman who continued to be a problem. She was extremely vague, telling my manager to just make it look nice, and getting huffy when asked for specifics on what she actually wanted. My manager could tell something was up and insisted upon going over every little detail for confirmation with this woman. Finally, they settled on a design. The order was placed, and for about a week, that was that. Friday night, 15 minutes before we close, over 5 hours after her scheduled pickup time, mind you, the lady from the phone walks in. She looked surprisingly normal apart from the glare in her eyes, and we went to go retrieve her order. As I'm certain you all guessed by now, she had complaints. Many complaints. The shade of blue on the cupcakes was wrong. The frosting edges weren't smooth. The centerpiece on the cake was in the center when she wanted it slightly off-center. She wanted the entire cake dyed pink, not just the frosting. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, everything was wrong. Even though everything was exactly what she'd agreed upon at the time, my manager had made sure of it. And this was an outrage. She wanted her money back. My manager wasn't there at the time. The owner, however, was. She called the manager and went over everything again. The manager confirmed that yes, everything was what they'd agreed on, and this lady was blatantly false in claiming otherwise. Here's where you probably expect a victory, a glorious telling off of the Choosing Beggar who leaves in a rage as the employees all celebrate. The evil defeated. I know I certainly did. I mean, I wasn't exactly expecting the owner to take this lady down or anything. I kept my expectations realistic, but the owner had said before that this business took great pride in not allowing its employees to be mistreated and would refuse to do business with abusive people. This lady fit that description to a T, so I thought the owner would refuse her demands and tell her to go away, as I had been told was the way we did things. No. Instead, I watched with a dismayed sort of disgust as the owner gave this witch a $50 refund and apologized for it not having been what she wanted. Never mind the fact that we all knew she was lying. Never mind the fact that she'd been absolutely horrible to the employees, which was supposed to be a big no-no. Never mind the fact that this was clearly exactly what she'd wanted this entire time. I know it's naive of me, but I honestly felt a bit betrayed, I suppose. I'd been promised that this place wasn't like others, that the employees were valued and would be defended, that butthole customers were not welcome and would not be tolerated, and then I could do nothing but stand there and watch as a woman who'd left my coworker in tears and made all of our lives a collective hell was rewarded for her behavior. She's going to do it again, if not to us, then to some other poor workers, because my boss just effectively reinforced that being a colossal witch is how to get what she wants. I know people here like to have happy or triumphant endings, but there isn't one. This lady was a huge choosing beggar, nitpicked everything, made unrealistic demands, demanded it for a ridiculous discount, and got what she wanted, and I'm just furious. I know that some will say this doesn't count as a choosing beggar, and maybe not, but I thought it fit the parameters, and I really needed to get it off my chest. In story number 2, we have a choosing beggar with computer problems, but they don't want to pay to find out what the problems are. So I work in a computer store where one of the things we do is to repair computers. We charge a $50 non-refundable diagnostics fee to cover the time put into seeing what is wrong with your computer. If you choose to have our company work on your computer to repair it, we will waive that fee. If you don't work with us, you pay the fee to cover our time. Simple enough, right? Apparently, that's wrong. Between customers saying, "You did nothing, why should I pay?" Well, sir, just because you don't like my diagnostics doesn't mean we didn't put time into finding out what the issue is. This week alone, we had a dead motherboard. The customer said, "Well, I don't think that's right. Try again." Then, when we called back with the same diagnosis, he sent his wife in to argue that we didn't do anything and so she shouldn't pay. We had a Windows 98 laptop the customer wanted upgraded. When we tried to explain to the customer it wasn't worth their time or money because of how old the system was, they told me to try anyways, but still, he doesn't want to pay. We had a customer that brought in a computer they tried building and said that the SSD was bad. We checked it, installed Windows on it just fine. When we called the customer to ask if they wanted us to do the install for them, they said, "No, an infant can do that. Why would I pay you?" So we wiped the SSD and told the customer it works. You just need to reinitialize it and install Windows. Again, "Well, I shouldn't have to pay anything because you didn't even look at it. I'm going to go to the Better Business Bureau to file a complaint if you try to make me pay." Is it just not known that a person's time is valuable? If you go to the mechanic and have them not work on it, you still pay the diagnostic fee just like any other service-based business. How do people not understand that? The good news is that we have an ironclad service contract that you need to sign before we do anything that clearly states our policy. You can complain, but you're going to pay up in the end. In story 3, we have a choosing beggar preacher who says Jesus needs some new computers. So I had worked for several years as a computer tech at a small computer shop in a Midwestern city. The owner began putting his profits up his nose, so his wife got pissed and offered to sell it to me at a price I couldn't refuse. I knew I would need more help than just my husband, as he didn't know a thing about computers except how to buy the parts I told him to get. So I talked to our daughter, who was teaching at one of the area high schools. She sent us a young man who, though he had a lot to learn, was smart and motivated. About a week after the young man started, his uncle showed up. His preacher uncle. He started telling me about how Jesus would bless me if I would donate 5 new computers to his church. He wanted the newest processors, huge hard drives, and a ton of expensive software. I listened to his sermon until I was ready to gag. I then informed him that he had encountered a born-again evangelical atheist, and it would be a very cold day in the hell he believed in before I gave him even a free power cord. He told me I was going to hell. I told him I'd be very happy about it if he and his kind weren't there. My new tech was scared to death that I was going to fire him, and he told me he had nothing to do with what his uncle did. I told him that, unlike his uncle's God, I don't blame people for what their relatives do. He also told me that his uncle's church only used 1 computer, and that the other computers would probably have gone to his family or be sold. That young man turned out to be a super technician, and when I left the city to go back home, I gave him the business. He ran it successfully for 7 more years. In our final story, we have a choosing beggar who thinks the best way to get something is to lowball. "Hey, is your sofa set still available?" "Hi, yes, it's available." "How is the condition? How firm are the seats?" "It's in an excellent condition and the seats are more on the soft side, but very comfortable." Okay, how negotiable is the price and can you deliver? I am willing to negotiate, but will only accept a reasonable offer. Also, it's only for pickup. I mentioned this in the ad. How much were you asking? $450. Will you take $180? I can do $190 if you deliver. Are you serious? I said I'll accept a reasonable offer and you're offering $180 and only $10 for delivery when renting a U-Haul truck will be at least $60 to $70? The lowest I'll go is $400. I can do $200, but only if you deliver. I have a bad back and cannot lift anything heavy. Let's say I agree to deliver it. Who will unload it and take it inside if you have a bad back? You can bring someone to help you to bring it inside my apartment. You've got to be kidding me. $400 and you pick up, plus bring someone to help you. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe and help me hit that 10,000 subscriber mark. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.